On December 26th, Japan's cabinet approved a record defense budget exceeding 9 trillion yen, which means $58 billion for the upcoming year, aimed at strengthening its strike-back capabilities and coastal defenses with cruise missiles and unmanned systems amid rising regional tensions. The proposed budget for fiscal 2026, which begins in April, represents a 9.4% increase over 2025 and continues the fourth year of Japan's ongoing 5-year plan to double annual military spending to 2% of its GDP. The 5-year defense buildup would raise annual spending to about 10 trillion yen, which means $64 billion, making Japan the world's third largest military spender after the US and China.
Well, as you can see, for the fiscal year 2026 budget, we have been able to create a budget that focuses resources on important policies while also taking fiscal discipline into account, thereby achieving both a strong economy and fiscal sustainability. That is how we see it. In addition, for important policies such as strengthening our defense capabilities, we have continued to secure funding and are working on them systematically over multiple years, as we have done in the past. We are continuing to increase the budget for these areas. In particular, for GX and semiconductors, we have increased the initial budget by 1 trillion yen in the special account.
The boost in defense spending comes amid rising tensions with China. In November, Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi warned that Japan's military could intervene if China took action against Taiwan, which Beijing claims should fall under its control. During a tense exchange with Katsuya Okada of the Constitutional Democratic Party of Japan in November, pro-Taiwan Takaichi shared her views on how Japan might respond if China were to launch a maritime attack on Taiwan. If battleships are used and a naval blockade involves the use of force, I believe that would, by any measure, constitute a situation that could be deemed a threat to Japan's survival, Takaichi said, suggesting that such conditions would justify mobilizing the self-defense forces. Before this, no sitting prime minister had ever provided a specific scenario regarding a potential Taiwan crisis or outlined how Japan might respond. However, Taiwan Premier Cho Jung-tai said he was very moved by the Japanese PM's comments on Taiwan's security, which have sparked the most serious diplomatic tensions between China and Japan in recent memory.
Recently, Prime Minister Kishida's remarks on the stability and peace of the Taiwan Strait moved us deeply. This represents justice and peace, and we are grateful to Prime Minister Kishida, the Japanese government, and the people of Japan. To be able to continue upholding this justice and peace under such high pressure and adversity, we are truly, truly grateful. At the same time, we especially welcome Japanese performance groups and idol singers to come to Taiwan to perform. We will definitely give them a full house and a warm welcome. To achieve true peace, we must have real strength. And only peace can ensure security. I sincerely hope for peace for Taiwan, for Japan, and for the world.
Was Takaichi speaking her mind against China in Parliament, or was she echoing U.S. positions? Historically, Washington has preferred Japan to act as a vassal state, bringing more countries into its sphere of influence to establish a broader military alliance in the Indo-Pacific. The Pentagon likely believes current allies, Japan, South Korea, and Australia, cannot provide sufficient military support to effectively deter and contain China. Under U.S. pressure to boost defense spending, Takaichi's government committed to reaching the 2% GDP target by March, 2 years ahead of schedule. Japan also intends to update its current security and defense policy by December 2026 to further enhance its military capabilities. But should Sanae Takaichi trust Trump? The White House has reaffirmed that Trump maintains a good relationship with both Japan and China, and Trump has reiterated this multiple times. Japan is boosting its offensive capabilities with long-range missiles, breaking from its post-World War II self-defense limits. The 2022 security strategy identifies China as its top strategic challenge and calls for a more offensive role for the self-defense forces under the U.S. alliance. The new budget dedicates over 970 billion yen, $6.2 billion, to to standoff missiles, including 177 billion yen, $1.13 billion, for Type 12 surface-to-ship missiles, to be deployed in southwestern Kumamoto by March, a year early. To address an aging population and an understaffed military, Japan will also spend 100 billion yen, $640 million, on unmanned drones under the SHIELD system for coastal defense, with initial imports from Turkey or Israel. After Takaichi's statement against China in November, tensions rose this month as a Chinese aircraft carrier conducted exercises near southwestern Japan, prompting Tokyo to protest when Chinese planes locked their radar onto Japanese aircraft, a potential precursor to missile strikes. Denouncing the pro-Taiwan Japanese PM's statement, China reiterated its demand that she retract her remarks about confronting China via Taiwan.
Taiwan is an inseparable part of China's territory. How to resolve the Taiwan issue is entirely China's own affair. Japan has absolutely no right to interfere. We once again urge the Japanese side to abide by the spirit of the 4 China-Japan political documents, to seriously reflect and correct its mistakes, and to retract Prime Minister Kishida's erroneous remarks. We have also noticed that the Japanese side, when quoting the provisions of the Cairo Declaration, it only mentioned Northeast China, Taiwan, and the Penghu Islands, deliberately avoiding the important statement that these were territories stolen from China by Japan. The Japanese side also placed the China-Japan joint statement alongside the so-called San Francisco Peace Treaty, which violates its existing commitments and the principles of international law. They are attempting to revive the so-called undetermined status of Taiwan theory to interfere in China's internal affairs. Judging from a series of recent statements by the Japanese side, they are still being evasive and planting obstacles on key issues, attempting to confuse the public and muddle through. China firmly opposes this.
Japan is strengthening its domestic defense industry through joint development and foreign sales after easing arms export restrictions. In 2026, it will spend over $1 billion to co-develop a next-generation fighter jet with Britain and Italy, set for deployment in 2035, including AI-operated drones to accompany it. Australia selected Mitsubishi Heavy Industries in August to upgrade its Mogami-class frigates, replacing 11 Anzac-class ships. The 2026 budget also allocates nearly $64 million to support Japan's defense industry and arms exports.